Hello once again, fellow boxing fans, and welcome back to another prediction video. Before I get into the content and the actual fight, I would just ask the usual of you that you would share, like, hit the bell notification, and most importantly, if you're watching, you might as well subscribe. You would help this channel out tremendously by just clicking that button. Thank you in advance. The fight I'll be covering in this video comes by way of request, and it is another great one from Austin Webb 2101. I thank you for another great request and for participating in the channel. So the fight that Austin wanted me to cover is between James Lights Out Toney and Joe Calzaghe. Now, I thought of this fight often, and I thought I covered it, but for some reason I didn't, but better late than never. And I'm thinking this fight takes place at 168, super middleweight, or just any common weight. Let's just go with that. That's the easy way out for me. But I'll probably be thinking more in terms of super middleweight 168. And I go back and forth on this fight because both of these fighters have similar attributes. The only difference is one's a southpaw and one's a conventional fighter. But both of these guys have tremendous hand speed, tremendous head movement. They're both awkward guys. I do feel that James Toney has better defense, but Joe Calzaghe's defense is his upper body movement and his awkwardness, as I mentioned. And both of these guys they both throw a lot of punches. They're both great volume punchers. If I haven't said hand speed, they both have tremendous hand speed. So this would be a great fight. And to be honest with you, I think this fight would be a repeat of James Toney's fight with Vasily Jirov, except he would be fighting someone with more hand speed. And I do feel that Joe Calzaghe was a slightly better fighter than Jirov. No, I take that back. Jirov was more technically sound than Calzaghe, and he had more pop to his punches, and he was a more disciplined fighter. And so I recant that statement already. And Jirov also had a good jab. So once again, I do apologize, but I do feel that the fight would be very similar to James Toney's fight with Vasily Jirov. But the danger for Calzaghe is the first 2 rounds, and he leaves himself open for counters. And that's the last thing he wants to do against James Toney. Sometimes he's offensive minded, which is fine, but don't come at James Toney when he's fresh. Fight cautiously for a few rounds. Test Toney's stamina, because Toney hasn't always been known to have the best stamina. He was good at fighting while he was tired, but I do feel that Joe Calzaghe would have the better stamina in this fight. Force Toney into exchanges. As I mentioned earlier, these guys are a mirror of each other, fighting from different stances, using those angles. They both go to the body effectively. They both throw uppercuts, counter punches, punches in bunches. I could go on and on. But what separates these two? What gives one the advantage over the other? I see Calzaghe outworking James Toney, but I also see James Toney pot-shotting his way to victory. So this is really not an easy fight to call. And as I also mentioned earlier, I went back and forth on this one several times. And to tell you the truth, I could tell you one thing and change my mind tomorrow. It happens. That's just the nature of boxing. Tough one to call. But I'm going to go with James Lights Out Toney. I'm going to give him the slight edge because I feel that he's the technically superior fighter in this fight. More defensive minded, better at punch placement and all that good stuff. It's definitely going to the cards, and it's a very close fight, but I'm just leaning towards James Toney. I'm slightly leaning. So I'm going to end this video before I change my mind. Those are my thoughts. Please let me know what you think. I'll see you soon.